The Ambition of Man by Edward Everett. From the patriotic oration delivered at Cambridge, July 4th, 1836. Out of the Book of Patriotism, Young Folks Library, Volume 18. Man is ambitious. And the question is, where will his ambition be most likely to drive his country into war? In a monarchy where he has but to cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war, or in a republic where he must get the vote of a strong majority of the nation? Let history furnish the answer. The book which promised you in its title a picture of the progress of the human family turns out to be a record not of the human family, but of the Macedonian family, the Julian family, the families of York and Lancaster, of Lorraine and Bourbon. We need not go to the ancient annals to confirm this remark. We need not speak of those who reduced Asia and Africa in the morning of the world to a vassalage from which they have never recovered. We need not dwell on the more notorious exploits of the Alexanders and the Caesars, the men who wept for other worlds to visit with the pestilence of their arms. We need not run down the bloody line of the Dark Ages, when the barbarous North disgorged her ambitious savages on Europe, or when, at a later period, barbarous Europe poured back her holy ruffians on Asia. We need but look at the dates of modern history, the history of civilized, balanced Europe. We here behold the ambition of Charles V, involving the continent of Europe in war for the first half of the 16th century, and the fiend-like malignity of Catherine de Medici and her kindred, distracting it the other half. We see the haughty and cheerless bigotry of Philip, persevering in conflict of extermination for one whole age in the Netherlands and darkening the English Channel with his armada, while France prolongs her civil dissensions because Henry IV was the 22nd cousin of Henry III. We enter the 17th century and again find the hereditary pride and bigotry of the House of Austria wasting Germany and the neighboring powers with the 30 Years' War. And before the Peace of Westphalia is concluded, England is plunged into the fiery trial of her militant liberties. Contemporaneously, the civil wars are revived in France, and the kingdom is blighted by the passions of Mazarin. The civil wars are healed, and the atrocious career of Louis XIV begins. A half-century of bloodshed and woe that stands in revolting contrast with the paltry pretenses of his wars. At length, the Peace of Ryswick is made in 1697, and bleeding Europe throws off the harness and lies down like an exhausted giant to repose. In 3 years, the testament of a doting Spanish king gives the signal for the succession war, till a cup of tea spilt on Mrs. Masham's apron restores peace to the afflicted kingdoms. Meantime, the madman of the North had broken loose upon the world and was running his frantic round. Peace at length is restored, and with 1 or 2 short wars it remains unbroken, till, in 1740, the will of Charles VI occasions another testamentary contest. and in the gallant words of the stern but relenting moralist, the Queen, the beauty, sets the world in arms. 8 years are this time sufficient to exhaust the combatants, and the peace of Aix-la-Chapelle is concluded. But in 1755, the old French war is kindled in our own wilderness, and through the united operation of the monopolizing spirit of England, the party intrigues of France, and the ambition of Frederick spread throughout Europe. The wars of the last generation I need not name, nor dwell on that signal retribution by which the political ambition of the cabinets at length conjured up the military ambition of the astonishing individual who seems in our day to have risen out of the ranks of the people to chastise the privileged orders with that iron scourge with which they had so long afflicted mankind. Together with his strong plebeian hands, the fragrance of those palmy honors which they had reared for 3 centuries in the bloody gardens of their royalty. It may well be doubted whether, under a government like ours, one of all these contests would have taken place. Those that arose from disputed titles and bequests of thrones could not, of course, have existed, and making every allowance for the effect of popular delusion, it seems to me not possible that a representative government would have embarked in any of the wars of ambition and aggrandizement which fill up the catalogue.